Mr. Manuel, thank you very much for joining us here on ENTA. Obviously, a victory for those of you who oppose the department's decision, but would you say it's more of a victory for the matric class of 2020?
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be with you. Yes, actually, this is a great victory for the learners. It's more about the learners than it is about the teachers or the teacher unions. And it is about doing the right thing. We could not accept that the department would base such an important decision on such a little information. It's an emphatic victory, and those that went to court, in fact, did the right thing. We supported the court processes, and we are pleased with the outcome.
Now, Umalusi could come back next year when the results are announced and declare them improper because of the leaks. This would have a dire effect on pupils who, for instance, want to go to varsity. Do you not worry about that?
I think we oversimplify it at times. There has to be a substantial proof that there have been so many learners that had the paper and that it would compromise the exam. To date, we could not prove that. And we will go through the process of marking. It'll be critical marking, investigative marking, and even in the marking process, we always pick up people that have copied, because that is what teachers normally do. And based on that, decisions could be taken by the Irregularities Committee. It is not automatic that because there would be proof of copying that Umalusi would come to such a conclusion. It would have to be substantial to, in fact, go to that extent. And I'm hoping that, in fact, we won't get there. I'm confident in the quality of our markers, and confident in the processes that are in place. And I hope good sense prevails.
AfriForum's argument in court was that the pupils have a right to have their exam papers marked, and that this is also another way the department could see which pupils cheated. For instance, by comparing their results from throughout the year to the final exam, you'd be able to see a discrepancy, probably. Would you support this as NAPTOSA and rather have these pupils be failed and repeat the year, those who are found to have been guilty of the cheating?
Absolutely, but just with a little bit of a different slant. I agree with the argument that, in fact, the papers must be marked, that in the marking process we will pick up those who have copied, and then, of course, we must subject them to the processes that are already in place for any child found with crib notes or having copied, or even in past years where we found that the majority of a class had the same answers perfectly incorrect. You pick that up, and it's the Irregularities Committee that will deal with that. And of course, there are rules that are set there, and those learners must be punished. We can't simply punish almost 300,000 other children for the misdeeds of 200 or even 1,000 children.
Well, this is not the first time a matric final paper has been leaked, Mr. Manuel. It's probably not going to be the last. What would you suggest, maybe as the custodians of education, how the department, Umalusi, and everyone involved can stop the leaking of final exam papers?
At first, this falls directly within the realm of the department. Nobody else is involved in the process until it gets into the hands of the children. And yes, to be fair to the department, the exam section has done extremely well over many years, and there have been little speed bumps. This is another one of them, and we mustn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Many things are working extremely well, and for that we must give credit. However, there are obvious weaknesses by virtue of the fact that 2 papers have leaked. Is it the printing system? Is it the system of provincial printing? Is it the delivery? We need to do a proper investigation, because what we do know for sure is that these leaks had nothing to do with our principals, our schools, or our children. It's adults at another level within the system that have exposed our children to this, and that for me is the greatest pity. Criminal elements amongst the adults have now ruined some children's chances of getting through 2020. And 2020 has been a difficult year for our children. It's such a great pity that it would have the sour taste at the end of the day.
Well, thank you very much for your time. That's NAPTOSA's Basil Manuel speaking to us there about the High Court's decision to set aside the Basic Education Department's decision to have the matriculants rewrite 2 leaked papers.